Have you ever felt it? That silent, invisible friction in a room when your quiet presence meets a wall of performative noise. It's the energy of the classic alpha, built on a frantic need for validation, a desperate broadcast of his own importance. But it's your stillness, your refusal to play the game, that becomes an unbearable mirror, driving him into a state of quiet madness. This isn't a battle you choose to fight, it's a reaction you effortlessly provoke simply by existing. Welcome, gentlemen, to the Sigma male community. Today we are not here to gloat. We are here to dissect. We are going to explore the deep psychological mechanics of why your authentic, self-contained power acts as a silent explosive against the fragile ego of the performative alpha. We will delve into the core reasons his carefully constructed world crumbles when faced with a man who needs no external applause to know his own worth. This is about understanding the nature of true power versus the illusion of dominance. 1. The spotlight paradox. The alpha male operates under the flawed assumption that visibility equals power. He chases the spotlight with a relentless, almost desperate energy, believing that to be heard, you must be the loudest, and to be seen, you must be the brightest. His world is a stage, and he is the lead actor, constantly performing for an audience whose applause is his only source of fuel. This performance is all-consuming. The booming voice that cuts across conversations, the meticulously crafted social media persona, the strategic positioning in every group photo. It is a constant, draining effort to scream, "Look at me," into a world he fears will ignore him. His confidence is not an internal state of being, but a fragile construct built upon the attention he can successfully commandeer from others. It is, in the starkest terms, a form of addiction where external validation is the drug. You, on the other hand, understand a far deeper truth, a principle that the great Stoics like Marcus Aurelius knew well. The most profound power resides not in commanding the attention of others, but in commanding oneself. You reject the spotlight not as a matter of shyness, but as a matter of strategy and self-respect. Your focus is directed inward, on the cultivation of your mind, your skills, and your purpose. This inward focus generates a quiet, self-contained magnetism, a gravitational pull that is both undeniable and deeply unsettling to the alpha. While he exhausts himself with performative theatrics, your effortless presence becomes the true center of the room's energy. Your silence speaks with more authority than his roar, because it is born of substance, not of need. This paradox is maddening for him. You gain the influence he craves by doing the exact opposite of what he believes is necessary, proving his entire life strategy to be a hollow, desperate charade. 2. The control black hole. The alpha's psyche is wired for control. He sees the world as a complex machine of social levers and hierarchical ladders, and he believes his primary function is to be the operator. He steers conversations, dictates the emotional temperature of a group, and attempts to manage the perceptions of everyone in his orbit. For him, predictability is synonymous with safety. If he can control the board, he cannot be surprised or outmaneuvered. He employs a toolkit of charm, intimidation, strategic generosity, and veiled threats to keep every piece in its designated square. His entire sense of dominance is built upon the responsiveness of others to these manipulations. He needs the world to react, to bend, to acknowledge his force, because that reaction validates his perceived authority. Into this meticulously controlled environment steps the Sigma, who represents a complete and total system failure. You are a control black hole. The alpha's charm washes over you and finds no purchase. His attempts at intimidation are met not with fear or aggression, but with a calm, detached observation that analyzes him like a curious specimen. His appeals to social hierarchy and status are utterly meaningless to a man who operates on his own internal value system. You don't resist his control, your very nature makes you immune to it. This isn't an act of defiance which he could understand and fight against. It is an act of sovereignty. The terror that dawns on the alpha is profound. His entire arsenal of social weaponry is useless. He is facing a man who cannot be played because you refuse to even acknowledge the game. His power, so carefully built on the reactions of others, dissolves in the face of your indifference. 3. The long game versus the loud flex. Alpha males are sprinters in the race for status, obsessed with the immediate, visible markers of success. They flex what they have right now: the new car, the corner office, the attractive partner on their arm, the trophy from a recent victory. Their power is performative and requires constant updates to remain relevant. It is a loud, desperate broadcast of current achievements, designed to intimidate competitors and attract followers in the short term. This obsession with the now is their greatest vulnerability, as it leaves them blind to the larger currents of life and strategy. They are playing checkers, focused on the next jump, celebrating each captured piece with loud fanfare, completely unaware that a different game is being played on the same board. The Sigma, in stark contrast, is the grandmaster of the long game. Your vision extends beyond the horizon of the present moment. While the Alpha is posting pictures of his celebratory dinner, you are silently acquiring a high-value skill that will grant you independence in 5 years. While he is bragging about his new title, you are building a network of genuine relationships based on respect, not utility. While he is curating a loud, flashy lifestyle, you are architecting a silent, unshakable foundation of financial sovereignty and intellectual capital. This deep, patient, and ego-free strategy is a form of power the Alpha can sense but cannot comprehend. He feels the ground shifting beneath his feet but cannot see the tectonic plates you are moving. By the time your long-term plans come to fruition, it's too late. You are not just one step ahead. You are in a different dimension of influence, one built on foresight and substance, not on the fleeting applause of the crowd. 4. The Satisfaction Enigma. The alpha male is a creature of perpetual, gnawing hunger. His engine runs on a fuel of inadequacy, a deep-seated belief that his worth is contingent on the next acquisition. The next promotion, the next conquest, the bigger house, the louder cheer from the crowd. These are not just desires, they are necessities to temporarily fill a void within him. His confidence is a rental property, leased from the validation of others, and the rent is due every single day. This creates a state of constant, restless striving. He can never truly be at peace because peace feels like stagnation and stagnation feels like death. His satisfaction is always one more victory away, a finish line that moves every time he approaches it. This is perhaps the most spiritually and psychologically unsettling contrast for the Alpha when he observes the Sigma. You operate from a state of internal fullness. Your confidence is not borrowed from the opinions of others. It is forged in the crucible of self-knowledge and self-mastery. It is bone deep. You act not to gain approval but to align with your own core principles. This quiet, internal satisfaction, the genuine joy found in the process of mastery, the deep peace of living with integrity, the fulfillment that comes from purpose rather than applause, is an alien and terrifying concept to him. Seeing you radiate a calm, centered power while possessing fewer external trophies and refusing to participate in his frantic rat race exposes the utter emotional bankruptcy of his entire life philosophy. Your stillness screams the truth he spends his life running from. Fulfillment is not a destination to be reached, but a state of being to be cultivated. 5. The Observer's Scalpel. Alphas are masters of the projected image. They spend countless hours polishing their stories, refining their body language, and honing their charisma to create a powerful, dominant facade. To the average person, this performance is often convincing. It looks and feels like unshakable confidence, like genuine strength. But to the Sigma, it is nothing more than transparent noise. You possess what can only be described as an observer's scalpel, a finely tuned perception that cuts directly through the performance to the anxious, insecure core beneath. You don't need to consciously analyze. You instinctively perceive the subtle tells that betray the act. You see the micro-tremor in the hand of the man boasting about a business deal, the flicker of doubt in the eyes of the one demanding respect, the forced, unnatural cadence of a laugh that seeks to dominate the room's soundscape. Your calm, unreadable observation becomes a psychic laser. You don't need to speak a word of challenge. Your grounded, authentic presence is the challenge. The Alpha feels his meticulously constructed persona being silently dissected under your gaze, and it is a uniquely terrifying experience. He can shout down a critic, intimidate a subordinate, or charm a crowd, but he cannot hide from the silent observer who sees the truth behind the mask. Your stillness doesn't just question his performance. It obliterates it, exposing the fragile, overcompensating man beneath the armor. Look at what your presence does. If your simple stillness, your refusal to play the game, has ever made an Alpha visibly overcompensate, squirm, or project insecurity onto you, you've felt this power firsthand. You aren't attacking, your existence is the revelation. For the observer here, you've witnessed the quiet earthquake. This isn't coincidence, it's the surgical precision of Sigma energy cutting through Alpha illusion. 6. Sovereignty over performance. The common conception of an alpha male is intrinsically tied to a performance of masculinity. It is a constant, exhausting theater of proving one's manhood through loud displays of dominance, the public collection of status symbols, and often, a juvenile obsession with broadcasting sexual conquests. Masculinity, for the alpha, is a costume that must be worn at all times, for fear of being seen without it. It is an external shell, heavily armored but ultimately hollow, requiring continuous validation from the outside world to maintain its shape. He is trapped in a relentless loop of acting like a man, rather than simply being one. The Sigma, however, embodies an integrated masculinity. It is not a performance, it is a state of being. Your masculinity is not found in what you say, but in what you are. A man of unwavering values, of deep emotional control, of quiet intensity, and of grounded, unshakable presence. You operate from a core of clarity and self-possession that requires no external validation. This authentic state of being serves as a brutal mirror to the alpha. Suddenly, his loud bravado, his incessant need to dominate every conversation, and his constant flexing all look like what they truly are, the desperate overcompensations of an insecure boy. True masculine power, the kind that both men and women instinctively recognize and respect, is not marketed. Your silent sovereignty reveals his entire performance as a fragile house of cards. 7. The Brotherhood Mirage versus the Lone Wolf's strength. An alpha's power is often a reflected glory, a light that only shines brightly when bounced off a loyal group of followers. He needs a tribe, a pack, an entourage. This group serves multiple purposes. They are his echo chamber, reinforcing his ideas. They are his social proof, demonstrating his status to outsiders. And most importantly, they are his safety net, a shield against both external threats and his own internal insecurities. His strength is amplified, but it is also dependent. Without his pack to validate his position, the alpha's sense of power diminishes significantly. His brotherhood is less a bond of equals and more a structure of dependency with him at the apex. You, the Sigma, walk a different path, the path of the lone wolf. But this is not the loneliness of isolation. It is the sovereignty of self-reliance. You enter a room alone not because you lack social skills, but because you require no social buffer. Your strength is not borrowed or reflected, it radiates from within. It is forged in the fires of self-reliance, sharpened by clear, independent thought, and anchored by an inner peace that is completely independent of groupthink. This solitary power is an existential threat to the alpha's entire model of influence. It silently poses the terrifying question: if he can command respect without a single follower, then what is my tribe but a crutch? Your ability to stand unfazed, think clearly, and act decisively, all on your own, exposes his pack not as a symbol of strength, but as a shield for insecurity. 8. Effortless gravity versus calculated strain. Observe the alpha closely and what you will see is effort. You will see the constant, calculated strain of maintaining a dominant posture. Every interaction is a micro-performance, every conversation a strategic move, every public appearance a carefully curated event. He bleeds energy to look powerful, to project an image of being in command. He is like an actor on a stage, constantly aware of his lighting, his angles, and his lines. While this performance can be impressive to the undiscerning eye, it is, at its core, a laborious and draining endeavor. It is power achieved through relentless, grinding work. The Sigma's power operates under a different law of physics entirely. It is not chased, it emanates. It is a form of effortless gravity. You do not enter a room and work to dominate it. The room's dynamics naturally adjust to your calm, centered frequency. This is the direct result of true inner control. A Stoic ideal where the man who has mastered his inner world projects an undeniable authority upon the outer world without a single word or gesture. The contrast is agonizing for the striving alpha. While he is meticulously crafting his persona, you simply are. Your quiet presence can shift the entire mood of a negotiation or social gathering without a script. His power, upon this comparison, is revealed to be manufactured and labored, while yours flows naturally from a state of complete internal integration. He bleeds for the spotlight. You, without trying, become the center of gravity. 9. Immunity to the measuring game. The mind of an alpha is a battlefield of constant, silent comparison. He is perpetually scanning his environment, running an endless calculus of status. Who has a more expensive watch? Who is taller? Who is receiving more attention from the most attractive person in the room? Who tells a funnier story? This is the measuring game, an exhausting and neurotic obsession driven by a deep-seated fear of being outclassed or overshadowed. His confidence is reactive. It exists only in relation to those around him. It is not true self-worth, but a fragile armor built to defend against the perceived status of other men. The Sigma exists entirely outside of this psychological prison. You are immune to the measuring game because you refuse to enlist. You don't compare, you don't posture, and you feel no threat from another man's success or another man's noise. Your sense of self-worth is anchored in something far more stable: your own self-respect, your adherence to your own code, and your internal clarity. It is completely independent of any external ranking system. To the alpha, this is incomprehensible. Your calm neutrality in the face of his posturing feels like a glitch in the social matrix. Your refusal to engage in his silent competition feels like an insult, highlighting the exhausting and deeply insecure nature of his own confidence. You possess an inner stillness he can't buy, fake, or fight, and it projects a form of power that needs no defense because it acknowledges no opponent. 10. Winning without the war. The alpha is a gladiator by nature. His entire identity is constructed around the concept of conflict and victory. He needs an opponent to defeat, a trophy to win, a visible conquest to validate his existence. Every meeting is a boardroom battle, every social gathering is a coliseum for social dominance, every debate is a war to be won. He seeks out conflict because it is through the act of vanquishing an opponent that he feels most alive and most powerful. Without a war to fight, he feels aimless and irrelevant. His worth is not inherent. It is something that must be perpetually proven through external conquest. The Sigma, embodying a core Stoic tenet, understands that the only battle worth fighting is the one against the lesser version of oneself. You do not enter the Alpha's Colosseum. Your focus is directed entirely towards self-mastery, being a more disciplined, more knowledgeable, and more virtuous man today than you were yesterday. And yet, a strange and deeply frustrating thing happens from the Alpha's perspective. The spoils of victory, respect, influence, admiration, and often material success flow to you naturally without you ever engaging in his competitive circus. This is the ultimate humiliation for the Alpha. He sweats, bleeds, and strategizes to win the prize, only to see it handed to the man who didn't even acknowledge the competition. Your path reveals the performative emptiness of his endless battles, mocking his deep-seated need for external validation through dominance. He fights other men, you master yourself. And in the end, the world invariably recognizes who has achieved true growth. 11. The political void. Alphas are often brilliant, if exhausting, political operators. They see the world as a grand chessboard of social hierarchies, alliances, and power dynamics. Every interaction is a calculated move designed to improve their position, curry favor, or undermine a rival. They master the art of the strategic smile, the power handshake, the veiled threat, and the carefully worded compliment. They climb corporate and social ladders by meticulously playing this complex game, investing enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy into navigating and manipulating the social landscape for their own benefit. Their power is built upon this intricate web of political maneuvering. The Sigma is a political void. You see the games being played, you understand the moves, and you remain utterly and completely unimpressed. You do not participate. You operate on a different axis entirely, the axis of raw reality governed by logic, authenticity, and undeniable substance. This is profoundly destabilizing for the Alpha. His entire political toolkit is rendered useless against your detached clarity. While he is exhausting himself with strategic maneuvering in a meeting, you are the one who remains silent until you can deliver the single, unassailable insight that cuts through the noise and solves the actual problem. You win respect not through manipulation, but through sheer competence and integrity. You don't bother climbing his ladder. You are busy building an entirely new structure on a foundation of stone, exposing his intricate kingdom as a fragile structure built on the sands of social games. This isn't a simple rivalry of personalities. It is the fundamental collision between two operating systems, one running on external validation, the other on internal sovereignty. The Alpha's jealousy isn't born of a desire for your possessions. It's born from the terrifying realization that your very existence proves his entire life's work. The noise, the posturing, the endless grind for approval, is ultimately meaningless in the face of authentic, self-contained power. Your power isn't in what you do to him, it's in what you refuse to become for him. You are the mirror he cannot break and the truth he cannot escape. Behind every one of the Alpha's strange smiles is the hairline crack where the envy for a Sigma's freedom bleeds through. Let this understanding settle. See it not as a weapon, but as a map to your own inner workings and the dynamics of the world around you. If these principles resonate with you, if you have felt that friction in the air when your calm met their chaos, let us know in the comments below. Your story is a testament to this truth, and sharing it strengthens this entire community of sovereign minds. If this breakdown provided you with clarity, liking this video sends a signal that this is the kind of deep analysis you value. Share it and extend that clarity to another man walking his own path. And finally, if you are not yet a part of this fortress of understanding, subscribe to the Sigma Male community and be sure to activate the notification bell. We don't deal in fleeting trends here. We deal in timeless truths for the man committed to forging his own destiny. Remember, the loudest man in the room is the most frightened. Stay silent. Stay sovereign. And let your reality speak for itself.